Welcome back to Omni Garage. So today we have another tool from Ryobi here. Don't think you can actually refer to this as a tool, right? It's like an appliance.
Yeah, but you don't really plug it in, so is it an appliance?
We'll call it a tool.
I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely excited for this. Do you know why?
Yeah?
Because we typically are on the big chase for, vacuums and stuff like that, and we have the little handheld vacuum.
We do.
We have the square box vacuum.
Yep.
And now we've basically got Ryobi's kind of biggest and best stick vacuum now to try out.
It's pretty similar in comparison to like a Dyson, right? So basically this is the One Plus, so this is the 18 volt system. This is the high power roller vacuum. I don't actually know what the...
Well, it's got a pet kit as well, so I think it's got
stick vacuum.
Couple of extra features, and what I'm really excited about is these accessories down here. So I think those are going to be really key for getting in tight areas of the car. So yeah.
The reason we want this tool as well is that we're doing a lot of work in the garage, so we're creating a lot of mess. The car's coming in and out. When we're polishing as well, we're creating a lot of dust from the compounds and the polishes that we're using. And then obviously when we're detailing cars, really nice to have the small box vacuum from Ryobi to get in some of the, the nooks and crannies in the interior. But when we're looking at carpets, so in particular like the floor mats that come out, the carpets in the boot.
And we have garage carpet here as well.
We do. So this is where this is going to come in really handy to have.
And this is the pet kit, so there's a couple of extra things to, I guess, help with removing pet hair and stuff like that. So yeah, and this is a kit, so it even comes with a couple of batteries, a couple of 4 amp hour batteries. So we really need batteries because we're starting to get a lot of tools now, and it's going to be really handy. So
we'll crack in, open it up, and show you guys how it works. All right, so we've got a small brush head. That looks like our main attachment. Smaller one. So this comes with a lithium battery charger. Ooh.
Just a standard charger, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of 4 amp hour batteries, which are well needed. We have so many tools now. I guess it's a filter. So many tools now that we need all of these extra batteries. This is the main.
And a kit is a really good way. So if you were starting out for the first time, I'd recommend you getting a kit, a tool that would come with a kit, so that you get a couple of batteries or at least one battery, and you get a charger, and that definitely sets you up to move forward. And then you can just end up buying just a skin only tool, there on in. And so
it's the most economical way to do something if you're buying into the ecosystem as well, because if you go out and buy batteries by themselves, chargers by themselves, you're paying far more than the equivalent of changing up to the kit versus the tool only. So I think this is pretty good value, this one here. I mean, there's a lot to this as well. That's our main cleaning unit. So there's a lot in the box here. And yeah, there we go, other battery. I thought, no, we've only got the one. So the 2 4 amp hour batteries. So it looks like what we've got here, we've got a dual roller. So this is going to be great for cleaning carpets and also wooden floors, tiles. Then you've got a smaller head. Now this is very similar to what we use on a Dyson at the moment when we're doing the carpets in the interior of a car. So very similar in size. These are really handy, so it's a powered brush head there.
And I think that's what they refer to as the pet head attachment for cleaning out their, pet beds and things like that.
Yep. Then you've got obviously the, this is like kind of a dusting tool. You've got your pretty stock standard crevice tool that comes with pretty much every vacuum. That's like indispensable on the other Ryobi box vacuum that we use. This one here, this is interesting. I have never seen a vacuum attachment like this before. It's essentially a whole bunch of like straws there, and they are somewhat pliable. So these are going to be really handy, I think, to potentially get down some of the cracks in the interior of cars. Like that one there is quite exciting for me to try out. We've obviously got a, this must be a wall mount, so we can dock it. We've got the main attachment to the unit itself. So it's pretty sizey, but weight-wise, it's relatively light. I think I remember reading on the Ryobi website, it's about 1.7 kilos. And then we have the filter, charger, and the 2 4 amp hour batteries that comes in the kit there as well. All right, so the vacuum itself is actually really light. It does feel a little bit plasticky, particularly around the connection piece here, but all in all, it's quite ergonomical really, the way the handle works. One of the benefits of this straight away is it's not a trigger-based system for the power button, so it is a power on-off. Then you've got your speed, so you've got 2 different suction settings essentially, and then you've got a button to isolate the roller on 2 of the attachments as well, so you can turn it on and off at your need. So the way that this works is obviously your canister does come off by just pushing that. You've got your washable filter in there, and Ryobi do give you a replacement with this as well, so you can swap it out while it's drying. This just pops in here, it just clicks back in place, so it's really easy. We'll show you emptying this at the end. And then we've got a whole bunch of attachments here. So I mean, the most common one using this on the floor would be this one here. So you would attach this like so. And so that's the bit where I feel like it's not quite as refined as I want it to be. It does take a bit of force there, but I wonder if as you continue to use this, or as you start to use this, if that might wear a little bit and might be easy to click in. It might just be the case that that's new plastic and it hasn't been used before. Then we've got a whole range of tools here. So this here is the one that we're mainly going to use to clean floors. So what you've got on here is 2 rollers on the bottom. So you've got this soft one here, you've got these bristles, these are really soft as well. And then this is your spinning, and everything spins in there. If I turn this on, I don't have a battery in it. So if I turn it on, you can see that we're spinning here, and we're also spinning here. And then I do have the ability to turn those rollers off and just use the normal suction of the tool without aid of those rollers. Now, what I think is really cool about this is the tool stands by itself. Like, I think that is quite nifty. With a vacuum like a Dyson, I've had all sorts of different Dysons over the years. When you're not using them, the way you put your Dyson down is like this. You either hang it on the wall on your charger, or you place it on the floor, which is a bit of a pain when you're still using it, but you're just setting it down for a minute while you move something. With this here, it's essentially pop it up and it will stand just like that. So I mean, it's going to be really handy. Pop it in the corner of the room here, just be able to sit by itself, because there's no dock-based system to charge this, right? Some traditional stick vacuums, you are slotting it into a charger on the wall here. Because this uses Ryobi's 18-volt system, you're always going to have these charged ready to go, so there's going to be no need to actually have it attached to a power source. So when you want to take it back, you just put a little bit of pressure on it and it just comes away. So we'll take this whole unit off. And then we've got some other pieces. So this bit here, we would typically use to clean car floor mats.
And it's designed, well, this is the pet kit attachment, so that would be for cleaning up pet hair and stuff out of dog beds, etc.
Yeah, again, quite tight. That was quite tough to put that on, so I'm just hoping with a bit of wear it becomes easier. And on this here, you've got your single smaller roller brush, so that's quite handy.
That's also a power nozzle there too, so if you turn it on,
correct,
it'll
then
roll.
That will roll. And again, we can isolate it and turn it off. So that's that piece there, and then we have 3 smaller attachments. So we've got a dust tool, this one here. No, it doesn't click on. It just slides on there and just holds pressure fit, but it articulates the head on there too. So quite handy depending on where you need to clean, given the bulk of the tool here for tasks like this. So you've got that dust attachment. Then you've got a traditional crevice tool. Probably one of my most used tools when we're cleaning the inside of the car. This is really handy to go down the sides of seats. But again, with the bulk of this tool, where you're going to want to use it is with this, which is, I mean, I call this the straw tool. I think Ryobi refer it to as the mini crevice tool.
Micro crevice tool.
Your micro crevice tool, but this is the straw tool. So essentially all of these straws on the end, it's sucking through those. And this will enable you to, you can get a bit of flex on there. Not super pliable, and I think it's just due to the length of these. If these came out to here, you get quite a bit more motion on those, but I think that's going to be quite handy to get this in small spaces on the interior of a vehicle. And then obviously on the right hand side here, we've got an attachment to wall mount. We do have that spare filter We have our charger as well, and then we did get 2 of the 4 amp hour batteries. So the Ryobi stick vacuum uses the 18 volt battery system. Now this tool came with 2 in the kit, 4 amp hour batteries, rated combined runtime of 110 minutes. So call it just a shade under an hour. Now that would be in the lowest suction setting. Suction on this is 20 kPa. And that would also be without utilizing the powered rollers on 2 of the heads for the tool. So I think real world use on this, you can probably expect to see about 20, maybe 30 minutes of use, which should be plenty for stop-start vacuuming. In terms of the dustbin storage on here, you've got 800 milliliters. Really, really easy to empty this as well. We'll show you later on in the video how that works. All in all, pretty compact, nifty tool, relatively lightweight, and utilizes that 18 volt system. So if you're already in the ecosystem, makes that really easy. So you might be hard pressed to buy a tool like this and dedicate it solely to garage duties. So we thought we should show you what this looks like in a normal household setting. So Glenn's kindly not vacuumed this floor in here for about a week to save up, so we can show you this tool in action. The black carpet here probably makes the dirt stand out a bit more, but typically Glenn would use a Dyson in here. This tool here is something that can be multifunctional between the garage and the house, so we'll give it a go. We've got that power head on here. We've got the 4 amp hour battery on the tool, and we'll give it a go. I think the first thing to point out there is it has enough suction to be able to pull the carpet up, and you can actually see some track lines in there. So you can see kind of the back and the forward. So I think it's got ample suction, and I think compared to something like a Dyson V6, you probably have more suction in this here. When you step up to like the newer ones, the V12s, the V15s, definitely lacks a little bit, but I mean, for a job like this, that light is super handy on here as well. Obviously you don't really need it in an area like this where it is quite bright, but if you do come up to a corner, nice to be able to tuck in and see what needs to be cleaned. The one thing that I think you're going to want to be careful with a tool like this, using it around the house, is it's not quite as nimble as you'd like because you do have the dual rollers there. So working areas like this here, you have to micromanage a little bit more. You get a great result, but it just feels a bit bulky in areas like this. Versus if you're in a garage and you're just swiping around mainly large flat surfaces without your walls, you're absolutely fine. And probably the best feature I think about this is the fact that when you get to an area like this where I want to move some chairs out, I can just leave the tool like this. I can pull the chair out and I can get back into cleaning. Rather than having to do this kind of awkward, hold this, move this, just being able to do that, that to me is the #1 feature of this Ryobi vacuum.
And so that's sort of the result that we've got just by vacuuming this little area here in the living room.
Then you've got your 2 attachments. So you've got the straw-like tool, and then you have your standard crevice tool. So these come in really handy around the house to work little areas like this, right? Where your dust builds up around your corners. That's where your crevice tool comes in. And then where your straw attachment comes in is doing things like your skirting boards. You can drag this along. So we'll start with that piece there. Attach that onto the tool. How easy is that to get all of that dust off? When you get to an area like this where you do have a bit more surface area you need to cover, you probably don't want to drag this tool across that because you'll be going many times. So that's where the standard crevice tool comes in really handy. Throw that on. then if you really want to get in the tight areas in there, you could throw your straw tool back on. And that just deep cleans everything in the corners.
So far what I've noticed is that when you've got those roller heads spinning, it actually feels like it's sort of pushing the tool along for you. So you can sort of balance it in your hand and you can feel like it's walking it out of your hand, which is actually quite nice to not feel like you're the one having to push the vacuum. Another thing is that with the light on this head here, if you came up to like a piece of furniture, you know, and you wanted to go underneath the couch, the light actually shows you what you're vacuuming up, and I quite like that feature. So that's quite cool, and then it's also got a steer type head on here, so you can steer the tool in certain directions. So, you know, if you wanted to curve it around something, I think that's actually really quite cool. So another use case where Omni Garage is typically going to be using this vacuum with that shorter sort of turbo nozzle is when we bring up floor mats. Now, we've dumped a whole heap of dirt on these floor mats, and this is going to be the same when you're kind of cleaning your pet beds and things like that. Just be mindful that when you do pull this tool forwards and backwards, is that when you do come backwards, that this plastic lip here can flip up, which isn't ideal, but just be mindful that, especially in, I'll show you, and so sometimes it can flip up just like that, and it's because maybe things are a little looser and the suction is just tipping it back like that. So just be mindful that you can get it on the right spot. And I think it does a pretty decent job of removing the dirt and stuff from these mats.
And mindful it doesn't do that. Like if you were to vacuum the garage carpet right next door to that, which is glued down, you don't get that tool flipping up on you. It's only when you've got something loose like this. So if I was to stand on the end of this mat, it makes it so much easier.
When you're cleaning car interiors, you really do need a good crevice tool, and the idea of that is so that you can get down thin areas like this. This car is actually blessed with nice areas in and around seats. I know other cars aren't as easy as this, but crevice tools help you get down cracks like that.
So the unique thing about this Ryobi stick vacuum is one of the crevice tools that it comes with. So this is called the micro crevice tool. It's got these straw-like attachments on the end, and Glenn's going to show you exactly where in the interior you might put this to use.
So you use this in strange areas like trying to get up underneath the seat. So you could use that long, I guess, hard plastic crevice tool, but to try and bend that into that area is going to be a bit difficult. And you know, certain areas in and around seats and stuff, I'd really like to be able to bend a couple of these straws and get in there. So you see what I mean here by bending these in here? And then I've just put that dirt there just to see if it actually does suck up anything. And for a bunch of straws, it does a pretty good job, right? Alright, so you're done tidying up your mess. Time to empty this canister. It is super easy. Pops out. And just like a lot of other stick vacuums, the bottom part of this just falls away and all your contents will empty out into this bin here. And inside here we have the filter, and all this sort of one unit just sort of pushes out. And then we do have another washable filter, but this thing here just sort of, I don't know, sort of sucks in there. So when it was time to give this a clean, you could then pop your other one back in. So super easy to empty out that dustbin.
So there is an overview of the Ryobi 18V HP stick vacuum and a couple of use case scenarios that we would typically want a tool like this to integrate, I guess, into our workflow. So I guess all in all on this tool, 699 New Zealand dollars for the kit, which includes the batteries and the chargers. I think when you compare it to some of the other stick vacuums on the market, I think this is really good for your general around the garage, around the workshop type scenarios. What really impressed me about this tool is the fact that you can stand it up, and it stands there by itself, so you're not having to worry about where am I going to lay this down as you're maneuvering things while you're vacuuming. The other really nifty piece on here as well is on the motorized rollers, you have that LED light at the front which is illuminating where you are cleaning. So when you're going under the things like, you know, under cars, if you're using it in the house, under furniture, that can be really handy as well. I had really high hopes for the crevice tools on here. Your standard crevice tool, this is pretty much, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other in terms of any others on the market that come with pretty much every vacuum. This one here, the micro crevice tool, I really had high hopes in just the pliability of this. I think where it lets itself down a little bit is that it's not as pliable as I want it to be. So I think there's a couple of risks with this. Number one is that you may potentially bend this too much and snap or crack one of these if you really are trying to maneuver it under a car seat. And I think the second piece to this is that you might just not reach where you thought you may with this. I was hoping this would get all the way under car seats, so you're going to get most of the way, but you just don't have that pliability in it to really make a difference when you're cleaning under a seat versus using something like a traditional crevice tool. Runtime, look, it's going to blow through a battery fairly quickly if you're using it with a motorized head turned on and you're also running it in that default, I guess the higher suction mode, which is how you want to use this. If you're using a vacuum, you want it to suck the dirt out, so you're not going to want to power it down. I'd expect to get about 20 minutes runtime out of a battery. Now, this tool here is really handy if you're needing to clean pet here. The suction on this with the tool in the max power setting, it pulls the carpets away. Where this was a bit of a struggle is just how it maneuvers. When you are doing something loose like a car mat, it wants to pull up on itself, so you have to use some downward pressure on it. I think though, if you're using this tool, the use cases where I think this would slip in for us will be with this tool here to clean the mats on carpet and cars, and we'll just fight with that mat a bit to get the good suction power out of it. We'll use this here to clean the floors in the garage, so just any general compounding, polishing dust, just anything that comes in off the driveway, you know, your leaves, your just stuff the car tires pick up. And I think out of these two here, you're going to use this more so than this here. This is going to be handy to have around. The dust tool, we're not going to use that in the use case where we have this tool. And I think where we'll end up using this tool is it will sit in the corner of the garage standing up, so we're able to quickly grab this to clean up little messes around the garage. So that's a really quick overview of some use cases and some specs of the Ryobi 18V HP stick vacuum. We make lots and lots of videos on Ryobi tools. Make sure you check out the playlist, and if there's any Ryobi tool you'd like us to pick up to get our hands on, let us know in the comments below and we'll do our best to bring you guys our thoughts on it. Again, big thank you to Ryobi for sending this tool our way. We appreciate their support and look forward to bringing you lots more content on the latest and greatest tools from Ryobi. Thanks for watching.